Hello everyone, welcome for the weekly community show. Thank you so very much for joining this very last show of the year. And as it's the very last show and as we do not have a patch today, nor did we had one last week because it's the holiday time and some of our devs are in holiday, they deserve it to have a little bit of rest. So we're doing things a little bit differently. And today I have for you some special guests. So that's really exciting. We're going to chit chat about the game. It's going to be fun. And yeah, I'm really enjoying that. So are you all ready to speak about Embers Adrift, to see how it has happened through the year, what we have done, because it has been a very important year for Embers Adrift this year, obviously. We were starting the year 2022 in alpha. In March, we open up the beta with an event. More players come to see, more players decided to jump in. We had a wall breaker event where the server were open to anyone that signed up. So a lot of people got involved. A lot of people tried the games and we could stress test our server and make decision about how we will go in future. We continued the development through several months and finally in October we did another open event and then the game was released the 15th of October. And since then we have bring some more updates to the game and it's really nice to see the evolution of the game through the years, to see all of the content that has been added. We had the dry food zone that has been added at the beginning, then the retro zone, etc. Once the game released, we implemented more dungeons, more features, and this is something that we will continue in future once we're back on track in January. January is also going to be really exciting. There will also be, hopefully, open weekend. That being said, this is not set in stone, so we do not know the date. We have not announced it yet, and it might be pushed further along depending of different things. So hopefully, cross our finger, in January there will be an open weekend. But what's sure is that in January we go back full speed with the content. You can expect some new quests for dry foods. The crafting quests are coming in, and more stuff overall in general. So guys, this is our special guest. So let's do a little round of introduction. So
what's up, Dark Sanity?
Let's go on the top first. Oh, you don't see yourself on the top, maybe. So
Ash is on the top for me.
Yes, Ash, it's your turn.
I am? Okay. Well, you know, hi guys, I'm Ashendale, or Ash for short, from As Beyond Gaming, and I've been streaming Embers Adrift early on mostly. I took a little bit of a break. So this guy right next to me could catch up, but that didn't really happen, so I'm stuck on level 26 or 27 on my Berserker, which I've been playing non-stop, pretty much. I also pointed the wrong way because you have it mirrored on your stream, which is weird. But yeah, I'm sort of waiting for all of you to hopefully catch up to my level so I can finally start grouping up with people again. Because it was getting a little bit tough to find people. So we're stuck in Red Shore. But love the game. Love Elloa, met her during TwitchCon. That's how we actually got to know about the game to begin with. Both Shadow and I, we're both Dutch, we're friends. And yeah, that's pretty much my intro, I suppose. Not much else to say. Happy to be here.
Nice to have you.
Sweet.
Let's the person on the left, Shadow.
Yeah,
Victor?
hi, I am Shadow, also known in-game and on Twitch as Shadow Zero Soul. And yeah, I've also been playing the game quite early on. I think I started playing about 2 or 3 days after official release. Currently I'm on my main about level 22, but I also got some lower levels which I've used to run around and follow Songbox when he wasn't looking around. And yeah, currently also taking a little break from the game. I've been going with a group until about level 22. At that point, I just wanted to play something else for a bit again. So currently, I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy XIV, so still sticking to the MMORPG genre, where I've also been playing a bit with Elloa here and there. So yeah, slowly getting back into things. So hopefully soon back to the game as well.
Nice. And now your turn. Be a nice human. Songbox.
Oh, hey, I'm Songbox. I stream on Twitch as Songbox, and let's see. I started playing MMOs when I was really young in 96 or 97. I jumped on The Realm by Sierra Online. It was like a 2D sides. Imagine like the Legend of Zelda, where you go off the screen on one end and you appear on the other screen on the on the opposite side. And it was online, so it was dial-up connection. That was my first MMO. Then Ultima Online, then EverQuest and stuff. So I just discovered Embers Adrift through backing what was going to be called Saga of Leucemia a long time ago, and I didn't really know much about Embers Adrift until probably 3 weeks after it launched, and I've been playing ever since. So there was a little confusion because I wasn't looking out for Embers Adrift because I had backed it under a different name. But now that I know where it is and what we're doing, and it makes a lot more sense now. The community is incredible, and I'm just excited to be here. I'm grateful to be part of the journey because I'm enjoying the game that much. And it's also really nice to meet you guys. I know we've engaged in-game a little bit, but Ash and Zero Soul, it's nice to be here on this forum with you as well.
Yeah, it's
Sure, likewise.
It's super cool because it's the first time I am doing a special guest show, and I'm very excited about this because we can speak about the game and about you guys, and to really build up this nice family feel, because that's how Embers Adrift shine the best, is when we create connection in between peoples and we're enjoying ourselves together. It's a group-based game, so that's why we are creating this game, is so we can create again strong connection between people. So the first question I will ask you guys, and whoever wants to answer first. So what is your favorite aspect of Embers Adrift?
The community. Just
Yeah.
easy. It's super easy.
Honestly, community, playing with people, helping people out, and just randomly being able to start groups with people and do stuff together. And it's for me the main reason to play the game. And yeah, as long as I can do stuff like that, I'm always happy to play it.
Yeah, I think that for me it's similar. Like, I think early on, especially when the launch weekend, like everybody was running around, and I really enjoyed how easy it was to just pick people up and be like, "Hey, we're on the same quest. We're killing the same stuff." It's very grindy, so you'll stick with the same people for a long time, and then you start recognizing names, and because we're all in one big server, the meaningful connections that you build with people, with their character, especially as a streamer, people coming in and out of streams, like I've seen Zalkor, he's still playing, like I've been running with him a whole lot. He's crafted all my stuff. I fed all my basically the mining stuff into him, and he just gave me mining pickaxes and stuff. It's those moments where you're like, oh hey, this is a friend of mine now, because we ran a quest like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, and we're on the same level. We're about to embark on this journey together. Might as well ask my friends, and it's so easy to do because there's a lot of time spent where you're just mindlessly farming. Might as well do it with people you enjoy playing with, and just have friendly banter in the party chat or even on Discord. And it's I don't know, the community definitely comes together in this game, because you have to. Like, solo is okay, but it's best experienced in a group for sure.
Yeah, that's the point of Embers Adrift, was really to create and to tailor an experience that will encourage players to play together, therefore not really pushing the solo playtime together. That being said, can always be the game can be always polished and improved and expanded upon. It's still a core base of the game, and the game still need to grow and still need to mature and still need to evolve. But the idea really behind it, and the main part, was to foster an adventure, a meaningful adventure and journey that you will want to do with people. And so far it seems that it kind of has reached this point, which is really cool, because it's not something specifically easy to do. You don't have a magical formula, do it that way and then you will obtain that result.
So true.
So, what's very interesting is in this little selection of special guests, we have two of you that have not really played the first generation of MMORPG, right? Is it? Am I correct, Ash and Shadow?
I would say so, yeah. I started personally with RuneScape. Not like classic, but old school, what they now call old school RuneScape. That was my first big MMO when I was like 11 or 12. I'm also not a native speaker, so it took me a long time to understand game mechanics, to understand quests, stuff like that. You know, starting to learn English as I go, kind of thing. And then I dabbled into World of Warcraft. That was my main game until Red of the Lich King, I think. So I don't have experience with like the old EverQuest or Sierra or Ultima Online. You know, I guess there's a bit of a generation gap because I'm only 31, and I guess the real classic veterans, the people who started out when the internet was still young and it was the first MMOs coming out, are generally like maybe 5, 6, sometimes 10 years older. So I kind of missed that era because I'm not a native speaker. For me personally, anyway. So that's true, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, I think the same here. I have been playing probably mainly MMORPGs through my years that I've been playing video games. That and like racing games and party games. But mostly MMORPGs, but I've never really played the old ones. So that is still something that has been missing for me. I have played a lot of different MMORPGs through the years, but I've never dabbed into the things like Ultima Online or even older games like that. I think, just as Ash, I think the first one I really started picking up back in the day was RuneScape. That was actually the first one I really got hooked on. Before that there were a couple here and there that were still very very pleasing to me, but yeah, the first big one I guess that I played was RuneScape. After that I went a bit off towards things like MapleStory and eventually to like Lord of the Rings Online and Star Wars The Old Republic. I never really played WoW since the aesthetic never really appealed to me, and then yeah, since I guess 2010 I really started just selling my soul to Final Fantasy XIV. But it's nice to have now a game that plays different than all those newer days MMO, so I think that's the charm that I personally find in Embers.
And what about you, Songbox?
I just love I'm assuming you're asking me like what are my favorite aspects of the game, right? or what specifically? What do you think?
Yeah, I was thinking about what were your first MMORPG? Sorry.
Oh, what was my first MMORPG?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Okay. You know, like I was saying, the Realm was my first. You know, and it was a point and click. You know, with your mouse, you click and they walk there, kind of a thing. And it was largely a visual chat room, and in that, you know, people would go into town and, you know, hang out in just one spot. I mean, granted, it's kind of like what we do now sometimes, but it was just it's hard to explain. Believe it or not, the MMO is still running to this day, and I have an account. I haven't played in a while, but it's called The Realm, and it's just a classic burst of nostalgia, where, you know, to get max level would take years, kind of a thing, and so I'm used to the grind and the community-based content, and it was I think my real gaming passion began in 1994 when Windows 95 came out, because my brother Stimson, so just to give you a little background, you guys will see Stimson all the time with me. He's my older brother. He's 8 years my senior. I'm 40. We grew up gaming together. So I had almost a generational leap into things even beyond mine. So when I was still, you know, very young, he was doing multi-user dungeons on dial-up connections and things through bulletin boards, which maybe it's really old school, you know. Where it was all text-based, you know, no graphics or anything. I would, all these experiences really really shaped my belief of what an RPG kind of is. I don't want to say should be, because everybody has a different idea of what it should be. But just in my opinion, you know, the whole dice roll, the whole adventure, like if one of the reasons I love, I'm going to get you guys, if you guys need to rein me in, do it, because I will tangent hard. But I thought about this, and it's so good. And I think it's a beautiful, it's a beautiful way to paint what I think is happening and how you can see it evolve. When I was young, we would sit, what was the peak and precipice, it was like a LAN party where you would bring out all your computers, but before that,
Oh yeah.
we'd all just get together on pen and paper and play D&D, where you'd make your characters, you'd draw your character. You weren't limited to a slider because you were drawing your character's hair and arms and giving them their weapons that you wanted, you know, to look like and stuff. And then when it was time to go out on your adventure, you'd say, well, I want to do this. I'd like to walk out here and I'd like to, okay, we'll roll a D20 and let's see how it goes. And then I thought, well, last night I was in CV with some friends, and, you know, the tank is here, and the tank has to be positionally located, and, you know, the target is here, and then, you know, the traditional assassin or someone with a blade that has a rear penetration or rear to hit modifier would be like a traditional rogue in an RPG, would be positioned behind the mob, and then the archer would be flanking. And if you were to go back many years to a D&D campaign where we're all sitting around drinking Mountain Dew, eating pizza, it's the same thing. You have the board on the table, you have the little thing for the monster right there, you have the guy who's taking the blows set up right in front, but now we have technology. And Embers Adrift, I believe, really, with my heart of hearts, has taken that experience in a beautiful way and translated it to a game. And that's why I like it so much. And I'm sure that wasn't the question, but that's where I took the answer.
That's fine. It's really good. And I will take the chance to say hi to our next guest, which is Alice.
Hi, Alice.
Hey.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good morning.
I'm pretty good.
So now it's time for
I'm
you.
late.
That's really fine. I was not sure you will be coming here anyway. So introduce yourself maybe so everyone can know who you are. I'm speaking about you a lot during the show usually. She's the girl that's making the patch notes video every week.
Hi, everybody. I'm Alice. And I'm always late.
That's really fine.
Fashionably late. Fashionably late.
It's because of the rabbit, you know.
Was there something specific, Elloa, you wanted me to say, or?
It's your moment to introduce yourself, to plug whatever you have to plug in.
Well, I don't really have anything to plug. Hi, I'm Alice.
She's also streaming on Twitch TV and creating YouTube videos.
Yes, I mean.
And taking care of the wiki.
Oh,
Nice.
yes, the wiki. Sorry, you guys. I literally just woke up, so I'm still
No
getting boot up
Morning
here.
coffee
It's
hasn't
fine.
kicked in yet.
Yeah.
I'm honestly still booting up myself. It's completely understandable.
Yep. And we were discussing about what was our favorite aspect of MMO and how we started. So maybe you want to say that, Alice, what was your first MMORPG and how you started to play MMORPGs?
Oh, geez. My first MMO must have been old school RuneScape. I think Ash was saying that, weren't you?
Yep.
Yeah. I was also like 11 or something when I picked up RuneScape, and then I didn't play any MMOs for a long time until I was in my mid-20s and I picked up WoW.
Yeah, I think that's... Most of us have been playing World of Warcraft, I guess. Except Shadow.
Yeah, I've not.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be found in that game.
I actually recently picked up DDO, Dungeons and Dragons Online. it's been pretty fun. And then Lord of the Rings Online as well. It's been a big one for a while.
I adore Lord of the Rings Online.
I don't
used to
like
play
the
that a
current
lot.
the current payment model sucks. Like Embers is much better, guys, believe me.
Yeah, it's a
Agreed.
shame.
Yeah, that's often what happened, and one of the reasons we decided to go for the less popular, but we think more ethical way of having box costs and a monthly sub. But I did ask at you this question, guys, to see what were your first MMORPG, because I had a point by asking those questions, which I find extremely interesting, is that Embers Adrift has been created with the old school MMORPG player in mind. So you guys are nostalgic of EverQuest, of Ultima Online, of Star Wars Galaxy. You want to re-experience this feeling that you had the first time you were experiencing those vastness and those group play and those, oh my god, what is this armor this guy is wearing? I want the same.
Yep.
And all that kind of feelings.
Yeah.
But what I find really nice is to see players that have not experienced that before, and so they are not nostalgic about something they have not known, but enjoying it. And it is the case of Ash and Shadow that did, and Alice also, actually, because you are the same generation of, and you guys have experienced Embers Adrift for the first time, and with those kind of experience. So maybe you want to explain a little bit what you felt, and so Soundbox can jump into to
Sure.
make his comments.
For me personally, and I said this multiple times during my stream as well, for me Embers was the game that I didn't know I wanted. Because when we first talked about it, I was like, oh, okay, sounds interesting, sounds up my alley, because, you know, community-based, I like grouping up, I like playing with other people. I mean, that's what we play MMORPGs for. Otherwise, I'd play a single-player game, right? But I was like, okay, this looks a little rough when I first, you know, laid my eyes on what it looked like. And I was like, okay, this is Unity, it's different. It's not something that I usually am drawn towards, like the style. And then I think during like one of your shows, you gave me a beta key. Like I got access through like the, I don't know, the lottery thing. And I tried it out for the first time. I was like, oh, you know what? I think I might enjoy this. And I started playing a little bit. Kept myself from playing too hard because I knew it was going to be server wipe and I would have to reset. I didn't want to invest too much time and effort while I was still going through the FF14 main story quest as well. I was streaming that. So I didn't want to commit too much time, and then I was like, I'll get back to it once it launches, because I also wanted to, I guess, support something special, because I really feel like, you know, you guys from Stormhaven Studios have been working your ass off for so long, and you made like a tangible product, like you delivered something, whereas a lot of these other MMOs that have tried haven't actually delivered anything, or failed in the end, or kind of got a lawsuit on their hands, or, you know, it didn't end up happening, or like it was doomed to fail on arrival kind of thing. And I feel like I was like, first and foremost, I want to support this because, you know, I consider you a dear friend, as well as, you know, reading through the story and how it got developed, and hearing from Alice as well, who's backed from the beginning as like a founder, I think, and where we are now and where it's going. Combining that with the vision that the team has for the game and being very unapologetic with it. Like, they'll listen to the community for changes and tweaks, and we recently got a few buffs and nerfs here and there. I think mostly buffs for specific specializations, but they still hold on to their own vision of like, hey, this is what we want our game to be. We know it's a niche and it's not going to be for everyone, but it works because enough people are looking for this type of game, right? And that's what got me hooked. The only reason why I sort of stopped playing was for Shadow to catch up and some other friends, the guildies, to catch up with me. So I have people to play with again, because I was going too hard and I just out-leveled everybody, basically. So I was like, well, I just got a whole lot of weight.
I warned you about this.
I know you did, but I couldn't help myself, okay?
I think that's a good reason for... I like that aspect.
Yeah.
And so, what about you, Shadow? Because Final
Yeah,
Fantasy
for
14 is
me,
quite different from Embers
it
Adrift.
is different, and I think that's the reason why I don't end up comparing the game to Final 24/7, because that's something that I run into with a lot of the other MMORPGs that I've played, where I'm like, yeah, it's a good game, but it's not Final Fantasy, and then I end up always drawing the comparison. And I think because of the way that Embers is, and it being a more, old school MMORPG experience, I don't end up trying to compare it to Final, because it just simply, even though it is the same genre, it's not the same type of game in my opinion. No, it's the same as saying that every racing game is the same, and you're trying to compare something like Gran Turismo with Mario Kart. You simply cannot do that. It's not the same. So what drew me in for the first time is I saw Ash playing it, and I was like, okay, it looks rough, just as he said, but it might be, worth a shot to look at it. And I, of course, also talked with you during TwitchCon. We met there. You're a good friend of mine, so I was like, you know what? Let me just buy the game, and if I don't like it after a month, I don't have to keep playing it. I'll just see what I think of the game. And yeah, for me, it was a nice break that I needed from a lot of the other games that I was doing, and just a relaxing time and a chance to meet new people, to get to hang out with a lot of people, and also just generations that I've never talked to. And one thing that I've always enjoyed in Embers is, because it is an older style MMO, is that you find people of different generations here. Whereas, as I said in Final, you find people from, let's say, 16 to like 40, maybe 45 years old. Whereas in this game, I've come across someone that was, I think, 15 or 16, and I've also played with people that have been retired for many, many years. So it's like, there are so many different generations of people playing this game. And yeah, any game will have, in the end, some bad eggs in there. Any game has that. But I think this game does a really good job in managing and making sure that the bad apples, basically, I wouldn't say get removed from the community, but it seems that the community tends to find them really easily, and then in some way tries to, well, sort of keep them at bay. So I think that's really nice, and the game has been very welcoming. It's been something that, just like Ash said, I didn't know that I wanted to play. But yeah, we talked at TwitchCon. I heard how into the game you were and how passionate you were about it. And through the interactions with you and some people on the forum, I've seen how dedicated and how much this game also means to the rest of the team. And it's been something that I just wanted to support, even if I'm not playing at the current time, because I'm just sinking myself into some other stuff. I still want to support the game and you as a person and the rest of the community. So yeah, it's been
This is so
very,
cool.
very nice for me.
And what about you, Alice?
What was the question?
Well, how did you start to get into Embers Adrift, considering that you are not one of those old EverQuest veteran guy or girl?
Yes. I think at the time I was playing a lot of Lord of the Rings online, and I had attempted to start some sort of like Facebook group where people who played all different kinds of MMOs could, have a community to talk about their love for MMOs. That didn't last very long, but someone, I don't remember who it was, someone had stumbled across my Facebook page and mentioned, hey, you seem like a person who would like this game, Saga of Leucemia. You should go check it out. So then I went and checked out Saga of Leucemia, and shortly after I bought like the basic starter package, backer package for that. And then it took a while because, you know, there wasn't really any regular testing going on at that point. And then I think it must have been a Thanksgiving weekend that we did or something. This was like 2017 or something, so it's a long time ago. I barely remember the details. But yeah, and then so I jumped in on one of the pre-alpha tests, and I met really lovely people. We had a great time, even though it wasn't really a game at all. It was
Yeah.
it was so bad. The graphics were really clunky and the performance sucked, and there was only like 3 types of mobs that you could kill, and you basically died instantly, and it was just it was really rough. But the community was there, and I was just welcomed immediately with open arms, and it was just, we had such a great time. And you know, from there the rest is history. It's something that I just threw myself into at every opportunity. And here we are. The game is launched and it's beautiful.
It's clear that it has been a long way, and it's nice to have people that has witnessed the first step of the game when it was really not a game at the beginning, because obviously that's the thing also with Embers Adrift and Saga of Leucemia before that, is that we really open up the alpha tester, because we didn't have a QA team. Obviously we were a very teeny studio. Our team was even smaller at that time. It was like 6 person, so we needed to have people to help us trying the game and testing it. And so it has really this very vibe of we are building up a game in public. We are building up a game, and you guys can come in and help us trying. And so it was the very beginning. And I remember some of the alpha testing when it was in the GM zone. It was not even in a zone with decor and trees and sky. It was just this blank state in those boxes. And it was, okay, guys, can you run to this point to this point? And can you jump now? And let's try the stairs. Is it working? And it was a very interesting experience to witness and to see those people that have stick around while they experience the game in this rough stage, which I don't think you can do that with other MMORPG unless you are in the industry and working in the industry. I don't think you can see a game so early and so bad.
I remember being very like just in awe, because you know, I had done my fair share of random open betas and things like that of weird obscure games and whatnot, and I'd never run across anything like what you guys were doing. And not only the vision for the game, but the, like you say, the way you guys were doing it so openly. And you know, the first time I played the game, I was playing with the devs, and I was just like mind blown at that. I was like, holy shit, like these are actually the people that are trying to make this game, and they're here playing the game with us. And you know, and then the Discord and talking to everybody and building genuine friendships with not only the, you know, my fellow testers, but with Stormhaven Studios. And that was just mind-blowing to me. And I feel very lucky that I had that opportunity.
And what about you, Soundbox? You say you backed the game back in the day, so how did you get into it?
You know, again, it was, I've always been on the lookout for the next game that was going to give me that EverQuest hit, you know, and I don't want to compare it to EverQuest because it's not EverQuest, but that EverQuest was my game. That was my quintessential MMO experience. Even though I mentioned the Realm was my first. EverQuest was kind of my purest. It's where I did the most raiding, the most guilding, the most friend making, the most spending weekends in the Common Lands tunnel, buying and selling until I had more money than I started with. You know, but ever since I finished with EverQuest, which was after Legacy of Yakesha expansion, I was just looking for that difficult, consequence-bound, group-based, community-driven gameplay that's set in a world that's still mysterious that you can adventure in. And I backed a lot of games. Right now I'm backing Pantheon, I'm backing Star Citizen, and I did Fractured MMO. And the reason that I came across Saga of Leucemia, which is our game, which is Embers Adrift now, it's, you know, the name change and the IP change and everything, so now it's Embers Adrift. I don't know how to word it. Forgive me if I'm wording it badly.
No, that's very nice.
Cool. But now, you know, after backing, and I don't even remember what package I purchased. I just know all of my characters can have the founder flag. So I need to go back in my purchase history and see what I bought and what package it was. Because all I know is I read the game's ethos, what it was going to be about. You know, no pay store, you know, adventure, difficult MMO, built on the tenets of tank DPS and heal and support, and all of that was just ringing my bell, you know. So I do remember supporting it a very long time ago, and thinking, wow, I just can't wait for this to launch. And then was always looking for a game called Saga of Leucemia, and that's probably why I was never in the testing. I don't remember, you know, well, combined with doing a bunch of other things at the time, I don't ever remember getting any emails and stuff because I was always looking out for another name. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't really have much of a better answer than that. I was always looking, actively searching on Reddit, online, probably every week. I'm looking and keeping my finger on the pulse of the MMORPG community, just quietly, as a fly on the wall, just sort of reading articles and seeing what development companies are doing what. You know, of course, some people join development studios, some people pass away, some people develop new plugins for Unity or for Unreal. Like, I follow all of these things and I try to see how they're going to be implemented into games in the future. Is there a better game to wait for? You know, another one, Ashes of Creation. I'm backing that one. I just thought of that. That's how I came about our game now. And honestly, I'm all in with Embers Adrift because I never thought that I would enjoy myself with both the game and the community as much as I have so far.
That's so cool. That's really, really nice. It's really nice to have you guys. I'm very happy about that. So what will you say is your hope for the game in futures? Anyone can start up with that question.
Well, I mean, for me personally, as like a WoW Raider veteran and like a strict PvE nerd, because I'm not really good at PvP, I'm not a competitive person. Like, I like to work together with people. I'm really hoping that you guys get the end game raiding and grouping up and like big scale group content right, because that's one of my things that I really like to sink my teeth in, you know. And not just maybe 8 people, but maybe 16 or 32. I don't know how many. But like, just go in with a big group, all get in the Discord, pop a beer on a Friday evening, just get with the boys and the girls and everybody together, and just do dumb shit, you know, and enjoy it, and just have a good time.
And wipe. Sorry.
And wipe, and like, do it again, and sort of go back to the drawing board, and like, oh, what went wrong this time? Let's execute better. Oh shit, tank out of position. Let's pull back. Let's have our, I don't know, ranger, berserker, whatever, do a safe pull instead of running into the room, you know, head first kind of thing. I like those little micromanagement tactile things that are definitely in the base game, in the core of this game. And I just hope that you guys get it right. That is like one of the biggest ones for me personally.
Okay, that's good. Good to know. So I will just jump in and answer on that regard, because it's probably a question that a lot of people are asking. So the route we have decided to take with Embers Adrift is not to do what World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy XIV are doing, in the sense where you're leveling and then you have the end game, which is kind of a separate game from the rest of the game. So what we would like to have is to have it in an evolution. But we have been thinking about what Ashes is just saying. So for now, we do not have the red tech in the game, so we cannot do it yet. But that doesn't mean we cannot develop it. But we wanted to also do that at lower level, so you don't have to do this type of activity only when you're max level, but also when you're experiencing your level and things like that. So we have already discussed about certain idea to really make it so the experience and the journey is homogenized in such a way where you don't have the feeling I need to rush as fast as possible so I can start playing the real game. So we want the real game to be all the time, etc. But that's really
that's
cool.
a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think that raiding should necessarily be locked to only people being the highest level. It is, for one, something that a game like Final Fantasy does well at the moment, with having raiding available from the earliest on being level 50 and even all the way up to level 90. So there are games that have already found a way to work around it, making raiding also possible for the lower level people, let's say level 10 or something, that they can already experience something that's raiding and maybe makes them more motivated to hit that next level limit, which might be 15 or 20 or 25. Where it's just a little bit of extra motivation for them. They see raiding, they really like it. They want to push forward to get into the next set of raids or to just experience more of the game. And yeah, on like the same direction of the game, like I think there's a lot of things that, of course, people have already asked for in the game. There's a couple of things that for sure can be improved. One thing that I'm always quite interested in is what does the game have to offer outside of raiding and story and questing. And I'm always then looking at like what is there for, like, let's say, mini-game activities, or what is there for like other activities that can be done. Like, are there any like activities that make the crafters more involved with each other, or the like a gathering event where like resources gathered in a moment are doubled around this time of week, or like those kind of things. So like all the little things that can make the game better, from events to mini games to collectibles, to even if you kill certain mobs, they can drop, like, let's say a rare item that you can put in sort of collectible book, and you can share the collectible book with other people and compare it. And yeah, that kind of stuff, like all the little things that can make people even more communicative with each other and interacting with each other.
Very nice. That's very interesting. That's something I am personally very much into pushing for the game. It's something to satisfy the collectors and achievers. You know, the person that want to have a list of things to do and tick all the point of the list. Because there's people that enjoy to do that. For some other people, it's not their thing. But there's a category of players, of gamers, that are well known to be achievers and collectors, and they need to have all the stuff. And so I also would like to have a kind of collection book where you have your achievement, or not something to push you to grind 10,000 mandrake. That's not the goal, because that can drive people insane. But just so you have, I don't know, kill every bosses or every name of the game, or you have visited every place of the game, you have completed a set of equipment or something like this. So you know when you have completed the game, so to speak.
And of course, the possibility to inspect other players' gear is always something that I've enjoyed in games, because then you can see, like, hey, I see that you have this equipped. Where did you get that? And that can again strike
That's a big one, yeah.
a new conversation with people, and people can be like, oh, I've got this over here. Let me show you where I got it. Or hey, come along. Next time we go in there, I'm more than happy to help you. Like, again, all these things, mini games, collectibles. Even some games bring like a minigame card game, which, you know, is something that can always be very fun for players to then collect all the different cards or stuff like that. Or like this, like inspecting someone, being like, hey, I've never seen that gear piece. Where did you get it? Could you show me where to get it? Did it come from a named boss? Like, yeah, that kind of stuff. Like all the things that can bring more people together, I think, are generally great updates into the game.
Yeah. What about you, Songbox?
I gotta reel myself in a little bit and have some reality. Did I set a setting up here? Yeah, I sure did. Sorry, stepped on my pedal here. Put a little too much echo. I have to reel myself in because my expectations need to be realistic. For one, fishing, and I know we've talked about it. I love sitting around and fishing with the homies. We've already talked about the raid content. I think that's super important. I'm not going to beat that. Everybody knows we need high level content. That's a given, and it's sort of done right, you know. And when I say done right, everybody has a different idea of done right. But I'm sure Songbox can carry the song. Oh, I see what you went for the duet. Yeah, we'll figure something out. I imagine, if you will, something like this in a lower or mid-level area. You know, the ground starts, and I'm not going to assume that you guys can even do this in the game, but lower mid-level area. Think maybe even New Haven, or maybe that's too much. Maybe just the Meadowlands, right? The ground starts to shake, and you just have enter beast. You know, I could describe the beast, but let's not. Just enter beast. Enter the big. I'm talking just more of a problem than the big turtle, right? Enter the beast, and then it's like everybody's like, oh gosh, this guy, the ground is shaking. He's coming. Whatever. We don't even know what's happening. We're getting this world message, and this guy pops up, and here come all the high levels. Oh, we're gonna do this. Well, guess what? He's like this guy's like, they're all mine, you're all too powerful, ha ha ha, you know, just like swipes away all the, you know, all the stronger guys. He's like, they're mine, I'm going to play with them, they can't defeat me, and I'm not going to allow you to touch me because I'm this great and powerful being, you know. And then the lower level players fight this super strong creature that's not defeatable, and you know, maybe it's got all these other things with it, and it's just sending them after the lower guys, and they're just like, what the hell's happening? We don't know. New players are lost. Like, I guess what I'm getting at is the confusion element, the unexpected. It doesn't have to be on, you know, permanent set, scheduled, wiki timed. Hey, this is going to happen on this day at this time. Like, you know, just something, you know, something maybe scripted, something maybe not, just world events is what I'm saying. Dynamic things that'll just make people feel like, oh God, I'm shaken up, and the big boys can't just roll in and make it okay, you know? Like, we're on our own. And if we fail, like, we're kind of screwed, you know? I don't know. Stuff like that has always populated my head back when I was playing EverQuest, I wanted meteors to fall from the sky, and I eventually got that. So, I just, you know, yeah, horde mode random. I don't know. I don't want to bring other games into it because, it may not be everybody's jam, but just having a little bit of element of surprise where, you know, event can happen, mobs can spawn, chaos ensues, the big boys can't come and take the fun away from the, you know, like if I'm level 19 and there's a world event, kind of the last thing I want happening is all the higher levels to come mobbing the zone, killing everything, and they're like, okay, can you guys tell us what happened and tell us what they dropped? So then it goes the other way around. The level 19s, the level 20s, the level 25s are now showing in world chat the stuff that dropped in this event that the higher levels couldn't access, and vice versa. You know, hey, did you hear about this game Embers Adrift? Yeah, this is a game where you're playing through and there's this crap that's happening and you don't know. Like Elloa, your community event. I want more of that. With the you were spawning the mandrakes, it was amazing. I thought it was a great, successful event. Having the mandrakes in the lower level area where it was, you know, also if they didn't know about what was going on, it's like, hey, what's happening, and why wasn't this here yesterday, and why isn't it here tomorrow, and this makes me want to stay engaged. Like, just to know that you're live a few times a week and that you're engaged with the players. I see you online. That's huge. All that's huge. Just more of this. If I can ask for anything for the game, it would be for more people to find out about it, because I think the people in charge already know what it needs. You know what I'm saying? But that's my, just the element of surprise, raid content, also interesting content for lower level people, which, I mean, you guys already know that's important. I don't know. I'm not going to say anything like mounts, because that's super, you know, polarizing in a game like this, where travel is important. I don't even know if I would want something like that in a game like this, but if it ever did happen, I would want it to be. I am going to do this. Sorry, guys. If it ever did happen, I would want it to be very difficult and very hard, almost impossible to maintain. Having to feed them, having to keep them happy, almost to the point where, like, God, do I really want to have a mount with me? This is not going to work today. You know, like, I just want to.
Like this Tamagotchi. Shit, it died.
It's too demanding.
Yeah, do I want to. Like, imagine, if you will, a hitching post in town, right? Okay, well, I can go to the stable and get my horse from the hitching post, and then, all right, well, now I'm out with my horse. Hey, you want to go to this dungeon over here? Okay, well, I've got my mount with me, and I can't take it to the dungeon. I can't. I absolutely can't. So now, okay, now I got to take my mount to a hitching post away from the dungeon, hitch it, pay the stable master. Here's an inordinate amount of money because I'm out in the middle of freaking nowhere, and you got to feed it and take care of it while I'm off with my friends. If there's mounts come, I'm not saying I want mounts. If mounts come, they've got to be a pain in the butt. That's all I'm going to say about mounts. If they come, they got to be a pain in the butt. You can't just click a button anywhere. You can't just poop, I'm on a horse. Poop, I'm off a horse at will, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. Because I know the mount thing is going to come up. I know it's controversial. I know it separates people. If the community says, we want mounts, we got to have them, cool. Maybe that could happen, but please make it difficult. Make it super, super difficult if it has to happen. I am not politicking for mounts. I'm just saying, if it happens, please make them hard to have.
Okay, you have heard it. So no Embers Dragon.
That's actually a very interesting point that you bring up, Songbox, because we run a homebrew D&D 5th edition campaign, and there's this one paladin who can command this very powerful war steed, and he does like a fuck ton of damage, has a lot of armor, does a lot of stuff, but he also takes like, I think between like 10 or 20 rations a day, and we're low level, we don't have high income, so very often we're left like, how are we going to feed this fucking thing? And I think that's a cool incorporation of that. Like, there's a big drawback of having that mount. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, mounts have to be a double-bladed sword. You can't... And here's another thing, like... I'm going to stop after this one, but you know how there's Pokemon that have IVs, moves? I'm a huge Pokemon player. Actually, I'm a featured Pokemon community game streamer. If you guys ever want to catch Pokemon and battle each other, I do that on stream all the time. But... you know, Pokemons have different individual values, different moves, different moods, you know, like mood/nature, different move sets, and different individual values. If mounts ever come and you were like, hey, I finally got this horse mount or whatever, and you're like, but it's shitty. it's a shitty one. It only runs at XY speed. I got to get another one because this one's lame. It's like, and then you name your horse and you're like, piece of crap, because you run too slow, and you're like, I'm gonna replace that one anyway or whatever. It's just like, then you have to go out and you try again, and maybe there's an animal husbandry skill that goes with it that improves your ability to befriend the... I've thought about this for a long time, because I've never liked instant mounts, and I've never liked the mount off contests, because it was just like, who could stay on longer and grind the longest for, you know, all the same mount with a reskin, and just poof, pop on, poof, pop off. Like, if you want to represent your mount, choose the one you want to represent and ride that bitch around, because if you want to go dock it and get another one out, you're spending money. Pardon my language.
And you, Alice, what do you dream for the game?
All right.
They all have great points, and I agree with all of them. Even the mount thing, that was very entertaining. Songbox, thank you for that. One thing I really, really want to see, hopefully soon, is factions and like class quests. I think we were talking about this the other day, Elloa. I realize it's a lot, but I think giving us, you know, reputation to grind and factions that come with different perks. Maybe you get some special faction-based gear with, you know, certain stats on different faction gear, or maybe you can, you know, they give you the knowledge to imbue one of your abilities with Ember Essence to do something specific. that's, you know, in the vein of that faction, and, you know, being able to have different options in quests because you have more reputation with this faction, or, you know, maybe it blocks you from another, you know, set of quests because you have reputation with this faction, just things like that. And then also class quests, I think, would really bring that immersion level to a new level, right?
Mhm.
And it would also, you know, maybe facilitate some community, being able to be like, hey, well, I need, you know, I'm a berserker, so I need to get, you know, group up with a couple of other berserkers, so we can work on our class quest and get this sweet sword that is for berserker only, or, you know, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I like this idea a lot about the class quest that kind of force you not to go with your regular group of defender, striker, and supporter, but just, yeah, now it's 6 berserker that need to team up together to do a berserker define things. That could be quite funny.
And I think it would also be a good opportunity to maybe sort of help people learn about their class a little better. Like, the quests could be designed around the way that class plays.
Mm-hmm.
So then you would have to learn how to master, you know, different abilities or different combos a little bit better than what you normally would do if you're, you know, with a regular group.
Yeah, absolutely. But the reputation to tackle on and answer, because people will want to know about that. The reputation, it's absolutely some of our plan, or at least that was one of our intention. It's just that when we developed Embers Adrift, as we are a small team, and I'm using it very often as a justification, and I don't want to use it as an excuse, but we are still limited. We had to choose and be smart. If we wanted to have the game to be solid, we could not disperse ourselves into too many directions. And so there had been things that had to be put aside so we can really be sure to have right the other things. But as the game grow and evolve and advance, this is the type of content we want to add to the game. And hopefully we will get to a point where we can increase the size of our team as well and get a few more developers with us. Therefore, we can develop the game faster and add all of that stuff faster in game as well. That's really what I hope. What I hope for Embers Adrift is that we can get to a point where we can increase the team so we can develop the game and add all those kind of super cool stuff faster. Because, and I'm really happy that some of you guys are really enjoying the game we have built, the idea we have built, the concept that there is, and so we can expand upon it, polish it, add to it, improve it, and I hope you will be excited to tag along while we are doing that.
I don't think it's necessarily an excuse. I know some people see it that way, but look, that's just the reality, right? That's the reality of this game and this team. Is it is small, and, you know, time and resources are limited. So that's just the reality of it. It's not an excuse.
No, it's true, but you cannot really use it as a shield either to say, oh, we're sorry, the game is bugged, so, well, too bad, we're just too...
No, it's, yeah, that's true. And I just think, you know, people need to have a little patience.
Yeah. But I think we have
everyone is so used to the, you know, the modern MMO pace, but that's just not the reality here.
Yeah, I guess that also ties in with people's expectations from launch. Like, obviously, you know, Stormhaven Studios, the team, made the decision to launch before everything was ready, right? And they thought they had the time to push everything out up to max level, at least, like the journey towards that level 50, I think, is the max level currently,
yeah.
the cap. But obviously there were some setbacks in development with the data leak and or the memory leak, and the navigation mashing, so that took up a lot of development time away from actually building out that journey. And I think while maybe some of the early people who were pushing really hard and were like, I guess a bit complaining about like, oh, there's nothing for me to do now because I'm max level, I can't get experience from killing anything right now. It is sort of, I don't know, I think it's okay for them to put the game, you know, to the side for a little bit and do something else for a while, because I think everybody who's played it and had their hands on the game so far will agree that the base of the game, the gameplay loop, the different specializations are fun. Like it's a fun game. It's slower paced, but it's exactly what we wanted out of it. And it's just a matter of time until it just becomes more fleshed out and even, you know, bigger and better and more ambitious, I suppose. Like you said, like adding more people to the team, adding, you know, instead of going with the stock animations for a lot of things, like, you know, the bees of wisdom, we all joke about it within the community, right? When you're learning new recipes, you're just like swatting flies. Well, of course you want different animations for that sort of stuff. Maybe flip out a book and start reading it. I don't know what you guys want to work out, but like the core mechanics are there, so I think all of us and a lot of the community is excited to see where you guys take it, and it's just a matter of time, like Alice is saying. It just you know, we need a bit of patience, and it might not be finished by 2023. Who knows? You know, it might take a lot of time, but I think we're all here for it.
Yeah.
Don't you dare touch the bees, Selko says.
Well, that's funny because a lot of people want to keep the bees going, and some people are like, "What? This is ridiculous, guys! You're ridiculizing yourself with those bees." So we'll see. We'll have to keep it as an Easter egg.
I mean, I find it funny, you know. It's like a running gag within the community. I'm all for keeping it as well, just as like a lol gag thing. Like, oh, you guys remember? We're just keeping it in, kind of thing.
Yeah,
but, yeah.
Well, it could be that, or you have you can learn the special animation through some other means. We need
like the flying kick to the head. That one's great as well. As a berserker, I love that one.
This is immediately the answer
Yes.
why we can't learn magic. We're just not smart enough as players. It's clear. we think that wisdom comes from bees. I mean,
yeah, ember bees.
How are we gonna learn magic that way? I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's also something coming soon.
I haven't reported a bug that I found with Lay of the Land because I like when it happens. It makes me laugh so hard. My legs turn backwards and I look like a newborn baby gazelle. The legs are like flopping around all over the place.
Oh, I've seen that happen. Yep.
It also happens if you don't use it, because I've seen Ash run past. I've actually sent him the clip in the past.
Shadow has a clip of me running past with noodle legs. Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah. And he doesn't even have Lay of the Land. So it happens randomly to people as well.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Okay. I thought it was connected to Lay of the Land because that's the only time it happened to me. That's funny.
No, it happens randomly to people. It's also happened to me as Marshall, so it's random. Yeah.
Funny. Okay.
Yeah.
But
See you, Smarty Bone.
Bye
Night,
bye.
Smart.
Good night, smartphone.
What about taking some question from the people, because I have not been paying so much attention to the chat, you guys. I'm sorry for that, but
I have one that's kind of interesting. I think that Elders brought up, Elders 1492, that's why a lot of people quit, because they could not get in a group because they didn't need a tank or a certain DPS. I think is an interesting one, because personally, I was in the wave of people where you couldn't really pick or choose. Anyone that was the appropriate level, we would just bring in. Even if it was 3 tanks, 1 support, 2 DPS, right? Not an ideal setup. But because we worked with what we had, we made it work. And I think it's a mindset that you want to instill within the community, within the people and the friends that you're playing with. Like, yes, we may not have the ideal composition right now, but let's swap, I don't know, have the Juggernaut, for example, swap his sword and board for a 2-hander, and suddenly he can be a semi-decent DPS instead of a 3rd tank in your party, right? I think it just requires the party that you're with to think a bit outside of the box, because you can make it work. It might not be optimal, but you can definitely make it work. And I always try to approach the game that way, because again, being a higher level, I didn't have the luxury, if you will, to just pick and choose ideal class comps or group comps. So I think it's mostly that rather than people being like, oh, I can't find a group because I'm a tank, and you know, there's 4 tanks looking for a party, so I might as well give up, kind of thing.
I agree very much with Ash is saying, and from the team point of view, we have made the game in such a way, and that's why you have 6 players in a group, to make it flexible, so you don't have to be exactly this composition like you have in other games, like Final Fantasy XIII or World of Warcraft. I will take those 2 games because they are very clear, everyone knows that. You have to have a certain, you need to have 1 healer, 1 DPS, and 1 tank, and 2 DPS in Final Fantasy, and 3 DPS in World of Warcraft. It has to be that. Here, the point was, you can make your group a little bit like you want. Maybe ideally is 2 defender, 2 supporter, or 2 striker, or some other people will find better stuff. But you can do clunky composition as well. The content is made so it's challenging enough, but you can handle it in a different way. You can use different strategy, you can use different tactic. In the example, like Ash say, for the 3 defender is exactly that. As a Juggernaut, you can use a DPS weapon. If you don't have a CC but you have 3 tank, that's fine too. Instead of CCing mobs, you have them tanking 3 mob. There's different way of solving a problem. You can solve it in different ways. Yeah, there's several solutions for this similar problem. When it comes to metagaming, that's fine if people want to metagame, but the game is not designed for metagaming. But they will always have metagamers that want to have the most optimal composition of things, but that's not really what we intend to do. We don't specifically want to encourage that type of game style, because we want the game to be more flexible and to be more about making friendship. And to be a pure metagamer is limiting that aspect of friendship. Of course, the metagamer are very welcome and they can enjoy themselves as much as they want, but the game is not designed with this in mind.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and we all know that for Berserker and then Duelist and Warlord is the best team comp anyway. Like, there's no argument there. But let's leave it at that.
Yeah, there's always going to be min-max meta players in any game.
Yeah,
but that is one thing I love. I absolutely love about the game is that, like you said, Elloa, there's different ways to approach it. And it's really fun trying to, you know, solve that puzzle, especially when you do have a oddly comped group and trying to, you know, you got to build the teamwork and build the group cohesion based on what you have.
So Neuromancer is saying, I don't believe it's related to group composition, rather it's around the level. That's another good point to continue this discussion. So there's 2 different things. First, our system is relatively flexible enough that you can still team up with other players that are lower than you. For example, if you're a high-level character, you will not steal away the experience of a low-level group. Let's say you're 20 and you go help your friend that are 7. You're not stealing them their experience. Of course, you are going to gain nothing out of that beside helping your friends. But at least you're not removing them something like some other game does that, so you're not punished for this. We are also trying to tweak that to make it even better and more encouraging for people to team up with different level, to smooth that out, because we have decided to not go for a scaling system. And this is something that I had pushed a lot in the team. We need a scaling system because it alleviates the system of I'm too high level, I cannot play with my lower level friends. But it also impacts the game in a certain way. When you have those scaling system, it can remove the challenge, it can remove the desire of progression. So it's something really difficult to tackle on. It needs to be really well thought and established before you doing that adventure. Let's take an example from a game, Elder Scrolls Online. they have done a big change in their game in 2016 with the one-time real expansion, one-time real update, where it scaled all the world, giving the freedom for players to go wherever they want. They don't have to progress to a certain zone, which is great for the Elder Scrolls. I think they did a great move with that, but it has removed something from the game, and now you cannot face difficulty anymore unless you play very bad and you're starting up. But that's a little bit the problem. There's always two faces to a coin, and there's one good side and one bad side, and so we need to find the right balance to ease the grouping, because that's what we want. We want players to group up without really removing the challenge or the feel of progression, which is also something important for our game.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, for example, I remember hitting specifically level 26 on my Berserker, which then meant I was the level range to join what is generally referred to as lumberjack groups. Everybody who's been in Redshore knows that lumberjacks are like in a specific level range. It's basically set 26 plus, and they have a chance, like a very, very, very low chance, to drop probably the best two-hander that was out for a while, called the Chopper. It's a rare drop, really rare. And I was like super excited to start farming those specific mobs, right? But I couldn't, because all my friends were either 28 to 30 range, or like 22, 23, 21-ish. But I couldn't bring them, the lower ones, onto those lumberjack groups. So often what I did, I made groups, because it's easier as a streamer to just pull your friends and be like, hey guys, let's make a group for Redshore. And just, you know, I chose to do something suboptimal for myself to help others gain levels, right? On Redshore Beach. If people are playing the game and they know Redshore, the zone, they know what I'm talking about. It's this beach ruin camp. And so I was able to pull people towards my level, but then they ended up taking a break or were in different time zones, because I'm Dutch. I play with a lot of US people, and I guess they went back to work, they went back to, I don't know, doing other things. So it was getting harder and harder to find groups. And I think somebody earlier in chat pointed out, like, oh, you could have power leveled your friends, which I did for a while, for like 2 weeks, but then it still didn't work out. So I'm excited to see the change where you guys maybe, you know, iron some of those kinks out, where you need to be a specific level to hit up certain camps. That would be fantastic, I think, overall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true that more you get in the higher level, the population seen it out. So let's see what Sparrow is asking. I'm sorry if this was already asked, but I'm new to the dev discussion. But is there an estimate date for the game to be feature complete with all of the concepts you have been discussing? I've been enjoying my time in Embers Adrift so far. Well, that depends. Yeah, we don't have such a vast and long-term roadmap, because there's too many things in factor. So our roadmap are a little bit more limited in the sense, okay, we're going to talk about this project and this project and this project. So it's very hard to say when everything we have envisioned, which include the reputation, the fishing, the achievement book, all of that, because that's systems that are a little bit further away from what we're working on currently. That's hard to say when it will be finished. However, we have a shorter roadmap that you can see on the forum. I can give a link to that, which is the work in progress. And I'm pretty sure that this will update it with the new year as well. So right now we do have a new zone, which is called Gorge, that will be worked on next. We have 2 other large zones that are also in the work, but later, which is Highland and the mountains. There's several dungeons, some Ember Drift for Redshore, a big dungeon, very large dungeon for Redshore, which is planned as well, the fortress in Dryfoot, and a few other things like that. As for the art, our artists are still working on armors and new creatures. or writer writing more quests, so the quests will be expanded through all the zones. So of course now we are working mostly on rich shore and dry food that doesn't have much quest, in the crafting quests. But there will be more that will be added through all the zones to have more lore, more story going on, etc. And that's about it for all of the features that are being currently worked on. There's other things that are more technical, which I don't have on top of my mind at the moment, sorry. But you will see that in the thread, in every patch note, there's something more specific that is shared, what we are currently working on. So we're pretty transparent with that. The other things, and the reason why we are not talking about it is because it's kind of vague for us as well.
Fair, yeah. I mean, it makes sense because it's hard to plan, especially because you laid out a very specific road already and had to sort of sway away from that timeline, right? Because of the little setbacks, or not little, they were quite major setbacks that you ran into. So I guess that also makes you more hesitant to pump out like an exact timeline. Hey, like this is it for Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 for 2023, which makes sense. And I think it speaks volumes that the team doesn't want to do that because, you know, at the end of the day, you guys don't want to disappoint the community, I suppose. And I'm rather happy that you guys are a bit more careful while still maintaining transparent, like, hey, this is the things that we're working on. You can see it exactly here. These are the things that are done, and they're, you know, being crossed off the list. And I think that you guys are doing a fantastic job communicating that with us, at least the people that are paying attention to it, you know, because there's the forums, guys. You can read all about it. And I think every week, at least so far, I've seen like, you guys put out at least a little something like, hey, you know, we're not forgetting about you guys. We're working on this. This is being developed. Or like last week, you know, development needs a break as well. It's the holiday season. We'll come back in full force in January. And so I think this is a great opportunity to also, I guess, express gratitude to you guys for doing it the way you have been handling it. Because I think, especially with a smaller team, it's important that you gain the trust of your community, because that keeps the players, like maintains, I guess, their retention, the player retention, even though they might not be currently playing, like myself, sort of taking a break. I still believe in the vision, I still believe in the team, and I'm just excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, and I do believe that people that are taking a break is something very smart as well, because you can overrun yourself, or you know, being burned off, especially if you play very extensively for a certain amount of time. And I do believe it's Yoshida, let's say for Final Fantasy XIV, nowadays you don't expect your players to play only your game. That's kind of selfish to do that.
Yeah, he wants people to play different games.
Yeah, exactly.
When people ask him on occasion during meetups, they ask him like, hey, I'm feeling unmotivated to play your game. What should I do to get motivated again? He basically tells people, if you don't feel motivated to play our game at the moment, don't. Go play something else, take a break, come back when the next expansion drops or something, and then see if you want to play the game again. And if you then still don't want to play the game, that's fine. Unsub, don't pay for the game, and when you feel like playing again, buy yourself a month, see if you feel it again, and, you know, play at your own pace. There's no real catching up to do in certain games, and I think at the moment, because I would say kind of because then a lack of endgame content, and kind of because of, you know, community is still growing, there is not yet this gap of players need to necessarily catch up on. You can still enjoy the game while being a level 10. There's no pressure like, oh, you need to be level 50 to do the raids. Like, no, you can take it easy at the game currently, and I do think that is something that is done very well. I know a lot of people were expecting the game to come out with, you know, content up to level 15, everything polished out and everything. But yeah, I mean, like I said before, the team is small. There's a lot of things still be worked on and to improved on, and the team realizes that, and people need to accept that. As things currently are, you guys are working very hard to make a lot of the wishes and the dreams of people on the community and on the forum come true, but it's gonna take some time.
Yeah.
I feel like one question that's like I see it every time is the bag question, the inventory question. And
yes.
It's been raised in the chat before, like don't think we didn't see it, guys. It's just one of those things that keeps coming back as well. I think that would be a nice one to sort of, I guess, hear your thoughts on, maybe from the development side of things, hear what you guys think about, like, hey, why is the backspace so limited?
Okay.
We need more.
Yeah, because what Undone will tell you is that you give more to player, they will want more. And I can promise you, you will have 2 more row in your backpack. It will fill up as fast and you will want more. And you can have 3 bag, the same size of that bag. You will want more. So it's a question of finding the right balance between what we want to give you as inventory management to do, because it's also a part of choosing. Otherwise, you can loot everything, right? You never have.
Well, I mean, I still have that cool
Give me more space.
From
Give me more
Halloween.
space. Give it to me. I want it all. Give me all the loot.
Have it, right?
I want more space. I need more space.
Yep. That's about right.
That's all of us, man.
So
yeah, but I don't want to get rid of my bear hoodie from like the ancient bear quest early on. Everybody knows what I'm talking about, as well as the Halloween mask that I have, the angry turnip thing. But it's taken up 2 bank slots, man.
I know. But no, I agree with you. I'm already very happy that we got a crafting bag, because before we didn't have a crafting bag. So
it was terrible.
Yeah, I hope that we will be able to extend the crafting bag, maybe before the bag, because I think the bag will stay that way for various amount of reasons. Maybe there will be more storage at some point. Maybe there will be a collection tab or something, or a regent bank, or I don't know. There's things we can imagine and things like that. But like the philosophy of the studio is, if you give more space to player, they will want more space. So
the one thing that I've always thought about that I wanted, and it's a really stupid thing, but it's the experience bar. I would love there to be a point percentage. So 77.1% or 77.29%.
Oh my god.
For me, that's just something like I see it move, and then it's still like it is still 2%, but it did move, and I don't know how much it moved. And it frustrates me.
You're getting picky, Shadow.
Yes, I am.
I think with the bag space, personally, and this has been a recurring thing for me. I've talked to Undone multiple times about this. Consumables, they take up the most space. Well, especially now that we have the crafting bag, right? Because before it was, my bag would be full of consumables and crafting stuff, and I couldn't pick up any loot. So I was broke because I couldn't pick up anything to sell. Now I can sell a few things, but I still have half my bag taken up by potions, arrows, augments, all of that sort of thing. What I would really like to see is on the pouch bar where we keep our potions and things, have like not a drop down, but a drop up menu, right? Where you could store like 1 extra. Basically, you would have 2 pouch bars.
Yeah, like they did the potions in Diablo, I guess, right, Alice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would really help alleviate some of that stress on bag space.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's supposed to be for your loot, right?
And that would tie into like a crafting thing as well. Like maybe like an outfitter can make a belt that actually extends into having like belt pouches like that.
Oh yeah,
that could be something cool.
There's a game that does that.
That's a fantastic idea.
It's
sorry.
Yeah, Book of Travel is doing that. So you can loot some items that have pouch. And so you can have a vest, for example, that has 2 pouch or 3 pouch. And so you have 3 extra slots. I really like that. Very,
I
very
want a
nice
vest of
idea.
muling. I think Zalkor wants a vest of muling as well. Have all the
So
extra
earlier on,
pockets.
Neuromancer had mentioned the idea of an augment-only pouch, like I guess maybe 2 or 3 slots of just augments, so that it, encouraging. Because the comment was actually very well placed from Neuromancer, is that around I appreciate the community of crafters. I normally use up to 8 different augments, which basically fills up my bag all the time. And I kind of agree with that. Like what I'll do is if I have a tinkerer in my group or in my guild, and they're like, "Hey, look, I have these straps and all this stuff for you," I'm like, "Cool, give me like 1 of each, and I'll use them right away, and then you hold on to them." And it's selfish, right? And I totally admit that. I think Neuromancer's point is valid, and maybe just it's like 1 or 2 slots just for augments would be kind of cool, and I don't know if it would be game breaking.
Yeah.
And then Zalkor commented on the same thing. Just augments, like you can't put a sword in there, just augments only. That way you can't load up whatever the hell. You know how there's a collection bag just for your gathering materials. Maybe a tiny little 2-slot pouch hangs on your hip that can only contain augments.
Yeah, it's definitely something the team is thinking about, and we are discussing about it because we are bringing to undone all the time. We need to expand
the
the
session now.
We need to expand the crafting, the crafting bag, or the bags, or the inventory. So
Mumis is not wrong. Make a mule character, spend 11 silver, open up the first 2 slots at the bank, throw whatever you want in the shared storage, get your mule, grab it out, put it in there, and you're good.
That's how we've been doing it. Yeah, that's like the way to do it, honestly. Like the first 2 expansion slots are decently cheap, especially if you're like in the mid tier, when you're like in I guess near like the Meadowlands area. You get a decent amount of silver for selling like vendor trash and stuff. So by then it's like a good idea to at least have 2 character slots extra and just have that as like extra backspace. Just park them in the main city. I'm sure everybody has been doing that, right? I can't imagine you haven't.
But then we all do that, but I think there's a fundamental problem with that, is that then we have this character that we're not playing.
Oh, but I only focus on 1 personally. But yeah, I see the gripe there as well, because alt-mancers want to play everything.
Yeah.
And I hear them as well, because I think 3 character slots for 9 specializations, a bit on the low side. But I mean, we've been hinted that possibly that could change in the future, depending on how things pan out. We don't know.
Yep. But be already thankful that you have 3 character slots. It was so close to only have 1.
Oh.
Let's bump it down to 2. So Elloa, can you tell me? I have 1 question that I'd like to just jump in here and ask you. Very directly. You once in your stream got me really excited, and the thing that you said that got me the most excited out of probably just stands out in my mind. You said, perhaps we will find ways to imbue our abilities with Ember in the future.
Oh, yes.
And I see a lot of people in chat saying, "Oh, this ability is no good. That ability, I don't like this ability. Blah blah blah." I don't mean to mock them. Their opinions are valid or whatever. But I try to be more of a visionary than a complainer. And I think with the idea of imbuing, when you start off from level 1 to 10, you're not a force to be reckoned with. Maybe, you're going to be glowing with Ember power. Your eyes are not going to be infused with this mysterious source. You're just going to be average Joe with a stick in your hand beating up a doe. But maybe later on, those same abilities that you were using, are we going to be able to just have that magical oomph to us that sets us apart from who we were at the beginning of the game?
So the system is not in the game yet, but it's being worked on. And so how it will work is that with the essence you are gathering in your Emberstone, you will be able to imbue some of your regions. So at the moment you only have 2 abilities per class with region. There will be more than that, but that's not set in stone yet how many and how much and why and whatever. So what we want to do is to give you the possibility of choosing whether you want to use your regular region to empower your ability, or if you want to get your Ember imbued region to empower your ability and give it a different type. So we want to allow players to tweak a little bit their builds and their characters with those regions. Obviously, it's going to take you first. You need to gather the essence, you need to imbue your region, you need to find your region first. So it will require you some work, and also probably a quest to be able to unlock the system and to be able to learn that. When it comes to which abilities, etc., that's not set in stone, but the goal and the idea is really so you will be able to imbue the regions, giving a different effect that will be making your ability feel quite different, because here your region make your ability be more powerful, but it's not really different. Now with the imbued region, we want the ability to feel different. So maybe you will have an ember dots on your bleeding attack in addition of your bleeding dots, or maybe the distance will be, or you will have a stun effect, or I don't know what we will imagine, but the ability need to feel different, and you will also have this little ember touch, those little ember sparkle. So that's how it goes.
Like the alchemist class went, right?
Yeah, but every class will be able to do that. Every player will be able to tweak and to use the power of Ember if you choose to take the time to do that, to get into it. So how far this will go, that we will see. Cannot give you more information. That's those one.
That's so exciting.
Will Warden be able to empower their pet ability via Emberstone powers? Oh, that will mean that will Warden have a pet?
Well, that was the first question, and
yeah,
you followed that up right away with the next one.
I think it's the Berserker that's meant to have a pet, not the Warden.
Ah, yeah, no. See? Like a big bear.
No, I'm kidding.
We hug every evening.
No. I'm a warden and I want a bird.
So, but we were thinking that taming is something this is very often asked to, and we want to have taming in game. We have not developed the tech to do it. It's a complicated tech, so do not expect it too soon, because things need to go correctly for the artificial intelligence of the pet to happen and stuff like this. But this is something that we want in game, so be assured that we are going to work on that at some point. But how it will handle, will it be something linked to your Ember Essence or not? To your alchemy skills? Maybe. Maybe not. Who knows? Berserker gets everything. Of course they do.
So cool.
I mean, streamer privilege, right? Wait, you don't play Berserker, do you?
Elloa plays everything.
Yeah,
she makes a new character for the community every day.
Yeah, that's true.
Nope.
Just give it to Marshall. We are suffering enough as it is.
I do think tanks do deserve some credit, because early on especially, holding aggro is not easy, I'll tell you that much. It gets much better when other classes get their abilities as well as them being more online, but for sure early on, tanks struggle.
Yeah, we need to throw like an enemy in the middle of all the other enemies and they aggro onto it, you know, easy.
Yeah.
I see so many low-level tanks just... I can't hold aggro. You know, the taunts need a buff and all of this, and then you're low level. Your character is weak. You'll get there.
I think also what ties into that is, especially when you go into Central Vein for the first time, like the first dungeon experience, the DPS don't know what they're doing. They're spamming their abilities at will. They're like, I'm doing damage, right? That's not how you do it. And healers, oh my god, like early on...
Everyone's like, the mobs are all over the place, and tanks can't taunt, and the heal aggro is too strong. But in reality, it's more of a player-user problem, right?
Yeah. Learning how to play your class and how to like balance it out and not blow everything on your first go-around, you know? Use that stamina wisely.
It's true that it's not really how your other MMORPG are working out, so it's really have a learning aspect to it, and to realize
it goes
that
back to the same age-old problem of we're all so used to the modern MMO, blueprint, and we've been playing these modern MMOs for so long that we just think that's how it works now, and it's ingrained into us. And when we come to Embers Adrift and we experience something completely different, and then people don't know what to do with that, they're like, oh god, what do I do? This seems wrong, it feels wrong. But it's more of a perspective issue.
Yeah, and once you start to really learn about it and being efficient with it, then the combat truly shine. And it's true that in Embers Adrift you have to hold on to kind of refrain yourself, and to learn to refrain yourself a bit, and to use your abilities, your everything wisely, rather than using everything every time you can. And that's not how other games are really teaching you. Usually you have to use all of the power as much as possible, and also in an efficient way. It's a different type of combat. I'm not criticizing the combat of modern MMORPG, but it's not the same thing. Here you really have to learn when to do nothing. And I think that's something really hard for people in general to do. True. Learn to do nothing. It's also a very good philosophical advice. Sometimes the silence.
If we need to use all the power, but we only have 8 buttons that we can use on the hotbar, it does feel like we're getting more skills than we have room in the hotbar at the moment, though. Or is there a way to add a second hotbar that we've not figured out yet?
No, the idea is that you have to choose. And select your spell. And what we want to give is to still give a little bit, because originally, when the game was not Embers Adrift, the class we were not supposed to have classes. We were supposed to have a system like masteries, a little bit more like Elder Scrolls Online, if you ever played that game, or an Elder Scrolls game where you the mastery two-hander axe, the mastery support, or
right. The more you use it, the better you get at it, kind of thing.
Yes, and so you compose really. You choose like 3 different mastery. I think that was it. You choose 3 different mastery, and then you're building up your own class, so to speak. But that didn't work out at all, which is why we scrapped this system away. But what we wanted to keep from that system is the idea of you're choosing your deck, basically. You have to be strategic about how you're building your abilities. Yeah. And so you need to have choice. At the moment, we don't have a lot of choice. There's a bit of choice.
I mean, I still quite like it, like to cut into that. Like, for example, as a berserker, I'm a berserker man, I'm sorry, guys. I have to choose whether to go with my big AoE skills, basically it comes down to, do I want to break my fellow CCers crowd control? Do I care for that? Or am I gonna go more of a team composition where I actually have some defensive to blow, more single target oriented? I usually tend to go for the group thing, because, I'm not that much of a dick. I'm already the selfish DPS class, so I can't do both kind of thing. But like there's a certain degree of like me choosing to play my build a certain way. And I quite like that. I don't necessarily think expanding the action bar is necessary, unless you guys decide to, I don't know, add 10, 15, 20 more abilities. Then it's too much choice. Then we might be wanting maybe 1 or 2 more ability slots on that same bar, maybe not an extra bar necessarily. No, because then you just have too many things to pick and choose from, I think. But
I don't think we want to expand the bar, which has already been expanded from 6 to 8.
Right.
But to give you more choice, yes, that's definitively something we want to offer. May it be through more abilities, or through how to customize those abilities, through the regent or the Ember regent.
Yeah, I think 8's a good spot. Like Frank's saying, 6 was maybe horrible. It was a bit on the low side, I think so as well. But there's also a specific question about a title being removed. Is that true?
Yeah, I don't know about that. So I'm sorry, I don't know the answer.
On your 6.
Yeah,
top 6?
The hero of Hollowbrook has been removed. I'm not sure. I don't know the official answer to that one, but I can ask and answer it another time.
Am I no longer Worldbreaker Ash? Oh.
No, you stop playing the game. You don't deserve it.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I can't be sure about this because for one, I never completed the quest, and for two, there's just so much information that I can't keep track of it all. But I think there was something said about the Hero of the Brook Hollow title was only available like within the first however long. So the first people who completed that quest in the time frame got the title. Again, I can't be sure of this, but I think that's what somebody said.
Well, I think on your 6, I recognize his name from earlier. So I'm pretty like during my stream, so I'm pretty sure he was one who had it before, but maybe doesn't have it right now. I don't know, maybe he can confirm in chat. But yeah, definitely earlier people definitely ran that title. Because for a lot of people who weren't like beta testers and founders, didn't have World Breaker. So they either ran with like their specialization as a title or the Hero of Brook Hollow. I've seen that a lot.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I will be asking. It's a good question. There it is.
World Breaker stay there. All right, thank you, Frank. I'm happy.
Nice.
Yeah, of course. World Breaker is forever things. So guys,
Well, there are some people who want the Bug Hunter title back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a thing. True.
I want the named hunter title.
Name Hunter. Ah, nice. Yeah, that will go well for you. Oh, by the way, guys, Shadow Zero Soul was so lucky that everywhere he was going, it was spawning automatically named mob to the point where
true.
people thought he was a GM.
It was actually ridiculous. Like I've seen some of his streams. He was just wandering around like the open world. He's like, "Oh, this thing's here. This thing's here. You guys want to kill it?" He was just like attracting these things. I don't know what he did, but like it was messed up.
Hidden gem powers.
Yeah, it's the law of attraction, guys. That's how it works.
Yep.
All right, guys. I propose that we are going to end with a little rounds where you introduce yourself again, or say where people can follow you, and you know, all of the things, your social media, all of that kind of things. Ash, it's your turn to start with.
Well, I mean, I guess the main thing would be Ash Beyond Gaming. Just all in one thing is I stream here on Twitch as well. I'll definitely get back to Embers Adrift. Right now, I'm not. I'm into the DDO hardcore realm kind of thing. I just ripped the character there, unfortunately. But I'll definitely get back into Embers in the future. So if you guys want to follow me there, and then from there on out, you can find my Twitter and my Discord and whatever. But yeah, the main thing would be there it is. That's a syntax error. But the Twitch page would be the main thing.
Good. It's Twitch that doesn't want to give you the game you were playing anymore for some reason.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's because your character died, Ash. It's fine.
Yeah, it's true. I died so hard on traps that it just doesn't exist anymore.
I saw something pop up in your Discord, yeah.
Yeah.
So sad. What about you, Shadow?
Primarily on Twitch as well, Shadow Zero Soul, but I also upload some of my content over on YouTube under the same name. Currently pretty focused on a couple of projects that I have going on, including a Final Fantasy X blindfolded run, which is getting towards the end, so that's pretty exciting. And yeah, a lot of Final Fantasy 14 at the moment. There are some things that I want to finish up there, but I will be returning to Embers soon, when I have finished some of my current projects with streaming. Then I will get back to Embers when I have a bit more free time and I don't feel like I have to split too much between different games.
Nice. That's good. Thunbox, your turn.
I do 3 things on my stream currently right now. I do Embers Adrift primarily, and then I do music and what's called the Pokemon community game. I don't know if I'm allowed to send links, but I'm going to try anyway.
Yeah,
I
you
just threw a
can.
Discord link in chat. Awesome. Sing, Songbox, sing. If you guys want to hear me sing, I can, but usually Discord modulates the signal and makes it really bad. So maybe catch me on a stream this evening, and I'll be happy to sing anything you want, Newmans. Naimunis. Sorry, I'm butchering your name for you. I also don't know that everybody else wants to hear me sing right now. But
yeah, we are going
so
to end. We are going to end the show. Was your clip that you sent me earlier, because that was cool.
That'll work. The Discord that I sent you, and the reason that I sent you that is because I just want you guys to know a little bit more about me and what I'm doing. So on that Discord, that's the Pokemon community game Discord. If you look at that, they have probably nearly 100,000 members, and I'm a featured streamer. So they probably have 20 or so featured streamers, and then there's recommended streamers. Featured is on top. So the reason I'm telling you this is when I'm live, and I'm live on Twitch, on that Discord, those community members, those 100,000 or so members, will see me live on that channel, and I would like to leverage that, because I do love Pokemon, and I do love battling, catching, and playing, but I would also like to leverage that awareness to help bring more viewers to Embers Adrift, which last night I had a stream, and I had 3 or 4 people buy the game and jump in. So... No, on Yo 6, it's not going to be that one. That's terrible. And not for this setting. Anyway, so on the Pokemon thing, a lot of people ask me, so I just want to get it out here. Every 15 minutes, there's a random Pokemon that spawns, comes with random moves and stuff, and then you can battle me or each other or random people from the internet, and that's it. It's a plugin that's in my About section. A lot of streamers use it. It's big across the internet. And that's what I do. So Pokemon, Embers Adrift, and music. That's kind of my little area on, and I focus more on the Embers Adrift side of thing, because I can have an insane spawn happen, but if I'm in the group and we're fighting in the dungeon, I'm paying attention to that. So,
it's so cool.
Anyway, that's my spiel on who I just do this stuff for fun, guys. If you come and hang out, you're welcome to come in and hang out. I don't differentiate subs from non-subs. I'm just here because I love the games.
That's so cool. Thank you. Alice, what about you?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm posting my link to the chat that has the Discord on there is not working right now. That link is not working because I'm revamping my server and stuff. But if you want a link to my guild Discord server, hit me up. I can get you on that. I'm mostly working on YouTube, and I'm on a little break from the streaming right now, but I'm planning on coming back to streaming in like a couple of weeks. I'm going to be doing that at least once a week, just hanging out, playing Embers Adrift. I'm also going to be doing a full Assassin's Creed playthrough from the first game all the way up until, you know, all the games. So we're going to be doing that as well. But yeah, so I'm going to be doing that at least once a week after the new year. My main focus, though, for 2023 is going to be on YouTube. So I'm going to make a bunch of guide videos for Embers Adrift, and I've been doing this for a while, weekly patch note videos and talking about the patch notes and the works in progress, things like that. So if you want to keep up on what's going on with the game, definitely go hit up my YouTube. And I'm going to be starting a second YouTube channel for some ASMR, where I'm going to read you stories like Alice in Wonderland and have some nice ASMR going on there. So that's really what my main focus is going to be on, is on YouTube. And then the streaming is just going to be, you know, a nice way to relax and hang out and chat with you guys.
Very nice. Doing the Twitch
and
Shoutout.
One last thing, if you want to purchase Embers Adrift, I would really, really love it if you could use my affiliate link, and I will put that in the chat as well.
Can Songbox be part of that ASMR with the singing?
I mean, that's definitely a possibility.
How do you sing ASMR?
I'm not sure, but we could figure it out.
Rap or something. I don't know.
Alright guys, it was really a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you very, very much to have accepted to be special guest for this special episode, which is the last community show of 2022. Next year is going to be different. We're going to kick in with January, where there's plenty of super cool things that's going to happen. So stay tuned for that. Next week there will be another episode with some patch notes reading and discussion and other stuff. So that will be really, really, really great. So now, guys, let's see this little song from Soundbox. So,
Embers Adrift
Is it the motherfucking warning one?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you gotta.
Oh yeah.
You gotta bring a warden with you.
Yep.
Yep.
There's no audio. Oh, wait, never mind. I got your stream muted.
Get your group
I'm
together,
thinking.
you're ready
That's why I'm silent
to
there.
go out. You tried to remember the quest, a mission that you're talking about. But you've only got 3 of your members and you ain't got a healer, it's true. And if you gonna listen to me, I'm gonna give some good advice to you. When you go out with your friends, where the adventure and the danger never ends, you can't forget there is one unspoken rule. When you're out in a dungeon, you better bring a motherfucking healer with you. Out in the wilderness, there's so many things that are strong. You might can't protect yourself when you're out there on your own. You're gonna need some beef and someone with a shield and some armor too. So my advice in Embers Adrift, you better have a tank with you. So bring along your healer and your tank. Bring along so you can break the bank, bring along. You know you want the items and the loot. If you want success in Embers Adrift, you better bring a healer and a tank with you. So what's going on now? You tell me that you've got a tank and a healer, but they can't take it out, 'cause they can't pump out the damage that they're needing to. So my advice, when you got your tank and healer, you also bring a striker with you. I know that you're meaning well, but you're running out of stam. The hog that you're hunting is really thick and made of lots of chunky ham. You got no arrows, you got no blades to stick on through. So my good advice in Embers Adrift, you bring a fucking warden with you! Bring a warden with you! Name Songbox. Bring a warden with you! My good advice is you bring a motherfucking good warden with you. There you go.
Yay! I think that was perfect to finish this episode.
Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. I'm reminded of like the old days when I was playing World of Warcraft a lot. There was this guy who made a song called Big Blue Dress. I forgot his name. I think it's Cranius Represents. If you World of Warcraft veterans know what I'm talking about, I think it was Cranius Presents and then Big Blue Dress. And he was making all these nerdy ass like video game songs just off the top of his head from his experience, and you're doing exactly the same thing. That's
Nice.
Fantastic. I love it. I love it.
I'm not familiar with that, but I'll have to look it up.
Yeah,
As a
this is
I'll put it
fellow
in
Warden
chat,
main, I
chat.
really appreciate that song.
Nice. Gotta represent the wardens, babe. That's right.
Yes.
You will just have to change the lyric to Alice instead of Songbox.
Bring a friggin' Alice with you. Bringing all an Alice blue.
That works as well, yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Don't make me get my main. Oh yeah, that was one of his as well. Yeah. Anyway, it's nostalgic. It's so fantastic. Well done, someone. Well done.
that's really cool. Guys,
Great.
thank you so very much for joining this episode. It was a pleasure to talk with you. Look at this, we have done 2 hours of discussion. This
I
was
feel like we could go on for at least 2 more.
yeah, exactly. So we will have
Yeah.
to be to do more episodes like this. I think it's really cool. So this will have to be a new things for 2023.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, thank you for having us. And even though me and Shadow definitely are kind of like MIA, as you will, or if you will, thank you for thinking about us. I think I speak for both myself and Shadow. Obviously, as your friends, you know, we'll support the stream and the game no matter what. But still, very nice to invite us. And thank you also to Songbox and Elloa, as well as Alice, for being so respectful. Like, I don't feel like there was a lot of cross-talking over each other. You know, we gave each other the respect and the time and the room to say our things. And yeah, this was very, very lovely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Thank you guys.
I enjoyed it.
And thank you, Alice, for coming so early. So thank you
I'm
guys.
glad I actually woke up.
Next time, see you soon.
Yes.
I'm going to drop off the
Good
discussion,
night.
and I will see you next time on your streams
see you
or
next
over
time.
here. You take care, guys.
See you on
A
the next
pleasure.
one.
Yes.
Love you all.
Bye, everybody.
Mwah.
Bye.
Much
Bye-bye.
love
See
to
you
you
next time.
guys. But yeah, guys, it was really, really nice. I was very happy. I hope that you enjoyed this special show, the last one of this year. I don't know how I will edit this. I think I will probably not cut too much in it because this was really cool and everything was interesting. Thank you so much. So thank you so much, guys, for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I wish you all a very, very happy New Year 2023. You take care of yourself, and I will see you next year for another show that you can follow either live on Twitch TV the Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Europe time or 11 a.m. Central American time, or of course on this channel on YouTube once it's edited and published. You take care of yourself, take care of your loved one, and I will see you soon. Bye.